Hello, today we're carrying on from Miss Sorlow's lesson and we're ordering decimals. So here I've got Amna and I've got Peggy, and they have both produced two decimals. They've thrown a dice and they've come up with two decimals. Amna has come up with 0.31 or 31 hundredths, and Peggy has come up with 0.34 or 34 hundredths. They want to know which one is the largest out of the two decimals. Have a look at them. What do you think? Amna tells us that 31 hundredths is less than 34 hundredths, or 0.31 is less than 0.34. Do you think she's right? Let's have a look. So here we have 0.31, 0.34. Now what Amna and Peggy have done to prove their point is they have got some counters, and they have got some tenths counters. So we've got 1, 2, 3 tenths, and they've got a hundredths counter, 1 hundredth. Peggy has got 1, 2, 3 tenths, and she's got 1, 2, 3, 4 hundredths. Who's got the most counters? It's Peggy, isn't it? And if we put that on a number line, we can see that yes, Amna's right. 0.34 is bigger than 0.31. I'm going to use my pen to write this answer. So I would say that 0.31 is less than, do you remember that crocodile? Less than 0.34. And we remember that that hungry crocodile, it eats the bigger number. Do you remember that? Okay, let's try another one. Okay, this one says which number is smaller, and use the counters to help you. 0.1 or 0.46. Well, I'm going to use some blue counters. I'm going to use my tenths counters because I can see I don't actually have any hundredths. So 0.1 gives me one blue counter, 1 tenths counter. 0.6 I would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tenths, 6 tenth counters. So which has the most? I can see that 0.1 is only one counter, so 0.1 is smaller than, it's less than 0.6. I've got less counters with 0.1. Each of these counters is worth 1 tenth. What about if tenths and hundredths? So looking at these two, it says which number is smaller, 0.12 or 0.21, or 0.12 hundredths or 0.21 hundredths. Let's have a look. So I'm going to use my blue counters for the tenths. So with 0.12 I have got 1 tenth. So I'm going to use one blue counter. With this one here, I've got 2 in the tens column, so I'm going to use 2 blue counters. You can always write your columns in, so here we've got our ones column, we've got our tenths column, and we have our hundredths column. Ones, tenths, hundredths. It's quite useful to do that just to remind ourselves. So let's go to the hundredths column. So I'm going to change my pen colour. Let's see if I've got a purple. I have. This time I'm going to go to my hundredths column, and I can see I've got 2 hundredths. 1, 2. How many hundredths have I got in 0.21? I've got 1 in the hundredths column. So I have got 1 tenth here, I've got 2 tenths here, so that's larger. So I'm going to, whoops-a-daisy, I'm going to say that 0.12. I've actually got the same amount of counters, but they've got different values. Tenths are worth more than hundredths. So with 0.21, I've got more of the tenths. So I know it is the bigger number, 0.21. There we go. When you go to your worksheet, it's going to look like this. And it's asking you to order the decimals. I'm just getting my pointer if it will let me. Okay. So it's giving you, for the first one, 0.3, 0.6, 0.7 and 0.4. So think about how many tenths counters you would have for each of these. You would have 3 tenth counters here. You would have 7 here. You would have 4 and you would have 6. So think about which is the greatest number in this box. With this row, you've got tenths and hundredths. But remember that those tenths are worth more than the hundredths. So the first thing I would do is go to the tenths column and see which one has the most number of tenths. If I was to have tenths counters, which of these numbers would have the most counters? And that would tell me which one the biggest number is. In this one here, we've got a mixture. We've got some tenths and we've got hundredths. What do we have to remember about tenths? They're bigger than hundredths. So if I have more tenths counters, it would be a larger number. With question 2, read it properly. This one's asking you for the smallest number in each box. And then here it's asking you to put in these greater than and less than signs. So remember that crocodile, the hungry crocodile eats the biggest number. Okay, have a go, see how you get on, and if you get stuck, remember that myself and Miss Sorlo, we're around. Just dojo us, just message us. Good luck.